Today we're going to be talking about private vacation rentals and why you might want to consider this strategy as part of your real estate investing portfolio and something that you might want to check out. I'm here with Jason Merritt, who is with By the Beach Properties, and Jason is an expert in the field of managing private vacation rental properties. So welcome, Jason.
Hi, Tom. Thank you.
Yes. So let's start off. What I'd really like to get the answer for our listeners is, what would be reasons that, let's talk about it. You and I spoke just a little bit before this, and there were really three reasons that we came up with, that you came up with and shared. What is the first of those three reasons that someone might want to consider the private vacation rental property business?
I think it's the cash-on-cash returns more than anything, especially in the luxury home market. There's a huge demand and drive for the luxury home market. We started out, in the vacation market, kind of playing around with some of our own vacation rentals a few years back, using Airbnb, VRBO, Booking.com. And just noticed that we were able to generate a lot more money than we were with annual rentals. And over the past 2 years have kind of been steered towards the luxury vacation rental market because there's a huge demand for larger properties in different areas of the country and, resort destination locations around the world as well, anywhere from 5 bedrooms and up. And some of these properties, the cash-on-cash return that investors are seeing, some of these properties are grossing $300,000 to $400,000 a year and netting $250,000 a year off of one property. So that's kind of where our focus has really been steered for the cash-on-cash returns versus, having 100 different headaches. We're able to focus in on one property and have one problem. If there is a problem.
Yeah. Well, good. And that you mentioned luxury, and could you just describe who typically rents luxury properties, because that can get pretty pricey for someone as compared to hotel rooms.
You'd be surprised at the number of people that rent luxury properties. Typically, your hotel travelers are going to be your business travelers, people who are traveling Monday, Tuesday, single travelers. They're there for conventions. Other types of luxury property rentals, we're finding families are traveling together. So, could be joint. All the brothers and sisters are bringing their whole families together. We find mastermind groups that are renting these places out. So they have 10 to 15 people that come in and stay and do a mastermind meeting. They're also being rented out for Hollywood. They're using them for commercials, movie production. Music videos is another big one. People are using these properties in music videos. Also, we just find that wedding parties, things like that, are taking them on, or either, there's a number. We've seen even as far as MLM or multi-level marketing that they're doing meetings in some of these houses. So they'll basically rent them out for a night or two. And, for like multiple families that are renting these out together, or, shared families that are renting these places, they travel to places like Disney, and, a single hotel room in Disney can range anywhere from $500 to $800 a night on the average, depending on what time of season you go. And, that's usually a typical 1-bedroom unit. It's got a 1-bedroom with a fold-out sleeper sofa in the living room. And here they can have an 8-9-bedroom house, swimming pool, jacuzzi, theater room, arcades, all different kinds of stuff, for the same price or cheaper than what they're paying to stay in an actual Disney resort.
Okay, and that makes a lot of sense. Now that we're talking a lot about metropolitan type areas here, I believe, based on some of the uses that you talked about. What do you find that this strategy works pretty well around the country? Is it Is it more regional? Specifically when we're talking about luxury type homes?
You're typically looking for destinations where their tourism industry or people traveling to the area they don't have any more than say 3 to 4 months of downtime throughout the year. Myrtle Beach, where I live, is a prime example. We're right on the cusp. We have about 2 to 3 months of downtime here. But places like Orlando, Disney is one of the hottest markets, because we even noticed that there was a little bit of a hedge against when the real estate market had crashed here in the U.S. back in 2008, 2009. As our economy was going down, the rest of the world was traveling to the U.S. So all the Europeans were still coming to Disney, going to Disney. They didn't really see too much of a depreciation in their real estate market there. It was very stable. And it seems to be when the economy kind of goes south here, the rest of the world is still coming to the U.S. because it's cheaper for them to, come and travel here. So the vacation rental space was a good area for that. But other areas such as Vegas, where there's a lot of conventions, are good areas as well. And then just your top travel destination spots like Hawaii, Costa Rica, other areas like that are also, hot spots for this type of stuff. But yeah, a lot of your metropolitan areas such as Nashville, Atlanta, Las Vegas, San Francisco, they're all good markets.
And what you shared about downtimes, by that you mean seasonal, like things that affect the market seasonally?
Yeah, well, typically, like say even the Orlando market, even though it did have some downtime when the economy went down, but like May and September is when kids are either getting ready to go back to school or when they're typically getting out of school or getting ready to get out of school. So Disney kind of sees a little bit of a decline from the U.S. tourists at that point in time. It's not that it dies, but your typical family vacationers aren't going to come there. Myrtle Beach, January and February here, it kind of picks up again around Valentine's Day weekend. But the cold weather, that deters people. But we also have a lot of snowbirds that come down as well from the Northeast. People typically aren't traveling to Montana in the middle of winter. They're waiting till summer to travel. But there are other areas. We find other places like Colorado that are year round. They have year round activities available in the winter, the summer, spring, fall. So they're more of a year round activity location. But yeah, there are seasonal locations.
Okay, and so number one was cash on cash, which means also that generally more cash flow, and that's because it is the rental income that comes in is quite a bit higher because it's on short-term rentals. And so it really generates more cash than it would as a long-term rental property. And so that's number one. What's number two?
Number two, I would say would probably be the valuation of the property. When you get into a vacation rental or, especially the high-end rentals, it's almost like the valuation is looking at a business. It's not your typical single-family fix and flip. So it's not going to be based on market comps of other homes in the area that have sold. They're going to look at it on the revenue generation that's coming in from the property. So say you have $1 million home, when you bought it, it wasn't doing anything. And then you turned it into a luxury vacation rental and started doing $250,000, $300,000 a year. All of a sudden that home becomes worth 1.2, 1.3, depending on the valuation. So it's a little bit different as far as the valuation goes than your typical real estate investments go for single family homes.
Okay, and I haven't had experience with this question. So when an appraiser comes in and appraises a home that has been a vacation rental for a couple of years, will that be part of their appraisal process to include that added value?
Typically, they probably would include that. Most appraisers should include that valuation because that, most homes sitting there are not income producing, whereas an investment opportunity is an income producing home.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Okay.
The purchaser themselves may look at it differently, but, it depends on who's buying it. If it's somebody buying it for personal use or an investment vehicle.
Got it. So number one was cash on cash or cash flow combination. Number two was the valuation being bumped up because of the fact that it has better cash flow, which then turns it into a higher value based on income. And what is the third of the three?
I would say it's what you were kind of referring to, the ability to have a forced appreciation. So typically, we're not trying to find properties that or have a lot of deferred maintenance in this issue. We're not trying to find the foreclosures or, the really undervalued properties, not having to go and dump tons of money into a renovation in order to create an appreciated value. This is all based on pretty much, the cash flow values of it. So, say there's a property on the market for $1 million and we may negotiate them down to 900, 950, something like that, which is under whatever the current market value is. But, most of the time you're going to have to dump 50 to 100 grand into something like that and to try to add an appreciated value. For this, we're not, we may add a little bit of money for FF&E, some furniture and fixtures and spruce it up a little bit, maybe add some video games, other things of that nature. And then, we're going to put it on the market and rent it out, and we're going to add value in that way versus, having to do the sit and hold, fix and flip method.
Got it. And so just to bring a little context to this, your business is, you've been a long time investor in real estate, and I know you and I have, our companies have worked together on some pretty cool, very successful projects. But for this particular piece of your business, by the beach, luxury rentals, I believe, is what you're going, or luxury vacations. With that, what you do is you help people, like, maybe just share what participation or what involvement you have in the vacation rental business and how that might apply to some of the listeners, maybe people who want to get into the business or people who have a property that they'd maybe like to sell or convert into a private vacation rental. What can you just share a bit of what your goals are and what your business does?
Yeah, so we do acquisitions of our own and control different properties through leases as well. But then there's plenty of people that we actually just partner with. So people that already currently own second homes or are in the process of buying a second home, investors looking to park money. We find good locations, good houses, and then we basically partner with the investor. So the project itself may have some overhead costs as far as utilities. Some investors have mortgages, some don't. So we figure out a baseline of what the property needs to bring in per month. And then we usually try to typically work out some JV agreement with the investor moving forward so that obviously the project gets paid first. And then after that, we do some sort of split. And it just really depends on where the property is, depends on what kind of split we typically do with the investor. Some are, we are in business to make money, of course, but at the same time, we want to see great returns for everybody.
And what I see in this, I'm glad you mentioned that, because what I like about the model you just described is the fact that it by creating this partnership or this effort working together creates a much better alignment of interest than, in a lot of cases anyway, than a typical management company would, because there's truly an alignment for really maximizing profits and minimizing expenses so that everybody can do better. I've always been a proponent of collaboration, of working together, of a true alignment of interests so that everybody can do well and all the risks are reduced, and it just creates for a better working structure, at least in my experience. So that part is really cool. So the number 3 of the 3 that we talked about again was the added value. The strategy itself is something where, rather than a fix and flip property that has a lot of moving parts, a lot of things you got to get together to make it happen, that is what, by doing that, that's what forces what we call forced appreciation or forces the value up. In this case, the home itself may not need anything other than maybe furnishings so that it's ready for Airbnb or whatever type of vacation rental it might be. But there's so so many fewer, if that's a way to say it. There's a lot less moving parts in a simple FF&E, like you said, furniture, fixtures, and equipment upgrade, than to go through a full renovation of a property. So that can be it's I guess what we would call a repositioning of a property from a regular single-family home into a rental property.
Yeah, and a lot of times we'll get involved with an interior decorator because a lot of times you don't necessarily have to. It's not like a typical renovation where, if the closet's not big enough or the bathroom's not big enough. The people that are coming in these places, they're there for short-term use. So as long as it functions and is clean and has the decor and the look and feel that they like, sometimes you may not need to create this huge master bathroom. It may be a nice luxury bathroom, but on a smaller level. A lot of it's about the experience too, just the guest experience and making sure that they have what they want and that they're comfortable and they're still pampered along the way as well.
Are there one of the things that goes along with this is the responsibility of the management of the property, obviously, but really doing a good job so that you get good reviews and repeat business. Is there any particular trick that you like? Trick isn't right. Any particular thing that you like to do to really step the experience for your people a little bit above competition or other people that are doing it?
Yeah, we usually have, we've been adding a lot of just video game systems because what we're finding is, a lot of times my parents are getting ready to go out somewhere or anything else like that. The kids need something to entertain them. So that's a great one. Always bringing in a professional photographer. We have HDR photos done of all our properties. It gives a really good, a lot of people try to take camera photos on their phone and they don't have the right amount of lighting or anything like that. A good photographer is going to really give you a good overview on whatever booking channel you're with, VRBO or Booking.com. The key is conversion clicks, and getting up in the rankings within those systems. When you type in Airbnb into the system in a certain area, you're not the only listing that's on there. And there may be 1,000 listings there. There may be 100 listings there. But the key is trying to get somebody to click on your listing and then, being able to provide some people, there's little types of quirks. Either they're overpricing, or, it can be a real learning curve if you don't know what you're doing. Mm-hmm. And you really want, the good thing about what we're doing versus a management company, like you were saying, that there is that JV. Typically a management company, they charge you their fee and then go, here's your check, good luck, pay your mortgage, do whatever you need to do. And, if we fill it, we fill it. If we don't, we don't. And, our goal is we don't make money until the project makes money. So I think that's where the difference is. My business partner is also all about, the guest experience and hospitality. He's always been in that industry. He's gone to school for that in the past. And it's just really about, when people, I think the big takeaway is with the vacation experience, especially for families that are out creating memories together, their children half the time, they don't remember, or families don't remember what they got for Christmas last year, birthday last year, but they can tell you about the trip they took 3 years ago to Disney World or the trip they took to Hawaii. And so if we can have an approach of making an impact on those memories and be able to make money for everybody at the same time, it really brings a lot of joy to this industry, but as well as what we get up and do every day. So we have a lot of fun doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that, the memories and the stories that can be created that will never be forgotten. In a minute, I'll share with our listeners how they can reach you. But before we do that, can you give us maybe one or two or three things that you would advise us to watch out for? What are some of the potential pitfalls in the private vacation rental business that may not be that obvious on the surface, but they're really critical in the success of this particular strategy?
I think it's running your numbers just like with any other investment. You know, you need to be able to find the right location, do some investigation in the marketplace, see what other type of rates that people are getting, run those numbers. We base ours no more or no less than 60% occupancy. So if we can't make the numbers work at least a 60% occupancy rate throughout the year, then we're really not interested in it. So it's doing your due diligence as well. Find the good destination locations. Don't dump a bunch of money into a property. Some of these luxury rentals, it can take $30,000 to $50,000 just in furniture to get them up to par. But as far as overall renovations, you don't want to dump tons and tons of money into a property. So that's another one. And your screening, how you set up your system as far as being able to qualify tenants and not qualified tenants, that's another big one. So I would say those two are very important. And then, I guess getting advice and getting help from people within the industry, putting a good team around yourself. You know, you're as strong as the team that you have around you, and no matter what business you're in. But I would say that's also very, very key for this. You know, you want good housekeepers, you want good maintenance people. We've got 24/7 guest service. So somebody's always, even though it's Airbnb, we've always got somebody available to answer any questions people may have. You'd be surprised at the number of people that are inquiring and making inquiries in the middle of the night to book these places. And, like I said, you're 1 out of 100 or 1 out of 1,000. So being able to have somebody to respond to the guest right away or the possible inquiry right away is another big thing as well. But yeah.
Great. Thank you for sharing those. You hit on what I think is really an important piece of being successful in business, regardless of what the strategy is, even regardless if it's real estate or something else. But in this particular case, your suggestion on teaming up with the right team and the chance to collaborate and be partners with someone who has already been successful and who has more than likely learned a lot of the lessons that weren't that easy to make it through, but it's lessons that you can learn from other people through their experiences rather than having to go through some of those challenges yourself. So teaming up with a good quality team and creating that solid platform and knowing that there's experience so you really see the potential pitfalls in whatever the business venture may be, if it's real estate or otherwise. So I think that's very, very important. Now, you're just about ready to come out with a book that you're co-authoring called The Secret of Selling Your Home or Renting It for Max Profit. And
correct.
That's your co-author with Dave Bynum. Is that right? Yeah,
he's the main author and we're a contributor on that book. We should have it out here within the next couple of weeks. So we're really looking forward to that. And, Dave is another expert within the industry that we've had the fortune of meeting here over the past couple of years. And so like what you're saying, as far as the team, Dave's also in the luxury rental space. Dave's got a great team of people around him as well. So we've got access to a group of people that if there's ever something new that pops up, maybe somebody else has experienced it before, or we're constantly, giving each other ideas of how to better and improve our guest experience or maximize profits within the industry. We're really looking forward to that book coming out as well.
And so it'd be a good resource for someone that's thinking about this type of a business where they could learn a bit more about what some of the things are to look for. Is that correct?
Yeah, not necessarily in the Airbnb industry, but it has to do with possibly investors that are looking to either buy homes or sell homes, or that own second homes that they're looking to lease out. We can show them how to maximize on their profits within selling that home or either leasing that home. So that's kind of what the book's geared towards more.
Great. Good. And if someone is interested in that, and by the time we get this segment edited, my guess is your book may be done, because it usually takes about 2 weeks for our editor to go through and get this ready. So what is the best way for someone to reach you that might be interested in that book, or even just interested in connecting with either you or someone on your team, if they have questions on how they might move forward with a luxury vacation rental property?
No, they can reach out to us at, we have set up an email, BTB, B as in boy, T as in Tom, B as in boy, Lux Rentals, vacations.
Yeah.
ETP Lux Vacations, I apologize, at gmail.com. And if somebody just wants to shoot us an email over to that, we'll have somebody get back in touch with them. Or if they're interested in the book, let us know. And as soon as the book's available, we'll get it out to them.
Great. And we'll have the address, the email address here, and your contact information in the show notes. So if you're driving, don't worry about writing that down. Mm-hmm. And so with that, Jason, what I like giving our guests the last word, so to speak. So as we part ways here, and thank you for being on the show, by the way, I really appreciate it. What would you say is your one piece of advice or one thought that you would like to leave our listeners with?
Yeah, I would say that the Airbnb industry or the vacation rental industry as a whole is a great market to definitely look at for investments. Again, it's more, you don't really have to worry about as market conditions changing as much. But a lot of it, a good majority is like what you said, Tom. It's about putting a good team of people around you and surrounding yourself with the right people and experts within the industry, and I think that's one of the key things. But it's definitely a lot of fun. And I thank you for having us here today. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jason.
Thank you. How are we doing?